The House Intel Committee is threatening to subpoena Mike Flynn for his documents and testimony. And Mike Flynn is talking about pleading the Fifth. And the Senate Intelligence Committee made a similar announcement on Tuesday as well. Mike Warner said that the committee wanted to subpoena some of his business records and other documents. And he also dryly observed, a business does not have a right to take the Fifth. You would, as I say, it's kind of surprising to me.
I can't believe that's true in America.
Republicans haven't taken care of that. Like, yeah, did we throw some workers into a grinding machine?
What have we been doing for the last 40 years?
I'm just saying it's totally unfair. Corporations are people too. And so this all, is a sort of continued fallout of this Russia story. And yesterday, John Brennan was testifying that he did think, in his capacity as head of the CIA, that there was sufficient enough intelligence to move forward with the Russia probe, particularly and specifically dealing with Donald Trump. Now, Trey Gowdy, who is the simian-like guy in the House Intelligence Committee and the main Benghazi hustler, he has jumped on this, and it's a very tactical, manipulative thing, but he's focused on this distinction between evidence and intelligence. And evidence is a hard, fast, thing. This is like court of law stuff. It's a different process. Intelligence is, what the term means. You're going out, you're tracking information, you're finding patterns, you're putting things together. And that's what Brennan said. He said there was sufficient enough intelligence, some evidence to warrant the Russia probe. But he was emphasizing intelligence versus evidence. And this is former CIA agent Trey Gowdy, Philip Mudd. I'm sorry, I got confused. This is former CIA agent Philip Mudd, who's on CNN. And he's basically saying that Trey Gowdy should, just check it out. He doesn't like that he's obfuscating the meaning of evidence with regards to intelligence collection. So this is the former CIA operative Philip Mudd on CNN.
Right. But it ends up just being frustrating to people listening because it devolves into this debate over semantics, intel versus evidence. And in fact, it got a little heated with Congressman Trey Gowdy. So let me just play this for you and then you can respond. Watch this.
Did you have evidence of a connection between the Trump campaign,
Jesus, look at that guy,
Russian state actors?
As I said, Mr. Gowdy, I don't do evidence.
I appreciate that you don't do evidence, Director Brennan. You and I both know what the word evidence means. It's a really simple question. Did evidence exist of collusion, coordination, conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russian state actors at the time you learned of 2016 efforts?
I encountered and am aware of information and intelligence that revealed contacts and interactions between Russian officials and U.S. persons involved in the Trump campaign.
See, Phil, that's what's so frustrating. Did collusion exist? That's the burning question that everybody wants answered. And then Brennan says, well, I know of contacts and communication.
Well, Trey Gowdy ought to have his ass kicked. He knows the difference between intelligence and evidence. Let me tell you something, Alisyn. If you're an American citizen and the National Security Agency collects intelligence, that is, intercepts of Russians who report what you've said, do you think it's fair to go to a court and say that's evidence that you did something wrong? That's why the FBI is going to take a year or more to investigate this, because the American citizens involved in this have a right to have evidence presented in a court beyond a conversation that a Russian official reports. In my world, this distinction is black and white. It's a hard line. I know it's frustrating for the American people, but I hope they don't want evidence to be perceived as something that a Russian official says, and that's it. You can be convicted on that.
So that's a very important point. He's saying, look, the intelligence is there to pursue this as a line of inquiry. But when you start demanding evidence, that's Donald Trump is on trial. Jared Kushner is on trial. They're getting convicted and going to jail on behalf of things on the weight of evidence that is not intercepted calls. It isn't pattern recognition or anything else that people do in the intelligence services. And very few people, other than I think maybe that crazy woman on Twitter, what's her name, Louise Mensch, uses the word evidence There is a lot of intelligence. And Trey Gowdy knows exactly what he's doing. And he's one of the more kind of cynical, disgusting figures in the game.
Trey Gowdy's job is to find a line through all of this where the sky isn't falling. So he said, like, it's normal for campaigns to talk to Russia and all these sorts of things that he can later revise when more information comes out. And with regards to that intelligence evidence split, at least statutorily, the CIA is supposed to be foreign and the FBI domestic. So that's the point, right? Like, the CIA is out collecting intelligence, and then they refer that to the FBI, who then investigates, which turns that intelligence into evidence.
Right, exactly. I mean...
And they know that, but now this is why you hear all the Trumpkins on social media say, there's no evidence, there's no evidence. Even Doug, when he called us, what's the evidence? Well, it's like, we're not investigating the thing right now.
We're talking about the intelligence. And of course, I'm sure Trey Gowdy has been involved in every type of legislative push to blur that distinction and allow the CIA to interfere more in domestic investigations and sort of blur what that line means. But just be aware, this is the Republican game right now. After Comey's been fired and everything else, people keep waiting for Republicans to turn on Trump. They're not going to until it's completely untenable, or maybe they get mad at him because this whole mess has delayed the markup on the healthcare bill and throwing people off in the insurance rolls. They don't care about this story. They don't care about using the White House for personal enrichment. They don't care about the racism. They don't care about the sexism. They care about destroying the social safety net and giving money to people who already have endless amounts of it. All right, let's run through some.
Hey, Sam Seder here. Folks, you probably heard about the whole YouTube advertiser apocalypse. Well, we're suffering from it too. We need your help. If you want to keep this show alive, you want us to be able to still put out clips on a regular basis, head over to our Patreon page. Here's the link right here or down below there. And just give us a couple bucks a month and support this program. Really appreciate it.